Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about The Dead Cattail Assassins by P. Djèlí Clark. I really hope I pronounced that right. I should probably look up how to pronounce that guy's name. Anyway, this is a novella that's going to be released in roughly 2 weeks. I got an arc of this from the publisher. Thank you, by the way, for that. And as soon as I saw this book was announced, I knew immediately I was going to have to read it because I had such a blast with The Master of Jinn. It was one of my favorite books of last year. And with the Dead Cattail Assassins, I am happy to report that everything that I love about P. Djèlí Clark, that I have come to recognize as quote unquote his style, is just on brilliant display in a more compact form. And yeah, let me get right into it. So first of all, what is this book about? Essentially, we have an undead assassin who she made a bargain with a god. We don't know what are the terms of this bargain, what she got in return, but we do know as a result of it, when she died, she was resurrected, and she has to serve out the term as a priestess of this assassin god, this god of knives. There's a funny twist on that in the book, but I'll leave that to you to find out. But yeah, so she, as part of that, she works for this guild, and they accept a contract to kill a person. Now, as one of the conditions of being resurrected is they're resurrected in such a way that there should be no ties to their previous life. Like, she has no memory of her time before being resurrected. She doesn't know anything about her life as a living person. And in addition to that, they usually wait a few decades following the death of the person before resurrecting them, to make sure that there's pretty much no one left alive who knew them when they were alive. So she accepts this contract, and she goes to do it, and she recognizes the person who she was sent to kill, and that triggers and naturally, as a result of that, she doesn't do it. She doesn't go through with it, and that triggers a whole catastrophic series of events. Like, management gets involved, etc. So yeah, that's kind of a summary of where the book starts and what you can kind of expect from there. So what do I love about this book? Now, the funny thing is that the whole super assassin trope, it's not something that's ever really captured me. I don't. Personally, I don't find the idea of romanticizing these type of people quite interesting, but that's a pet peeve of mine. But the reason why I share it is because it's a testament to how good P. Djèlí Clark's portrayal of this type of character is, that I enjoyed this novella immensely. So from start to finish, it's a short book, relatively short, coming in at less than 200 pages. It's intense, it's action packed. From the minute things start, they never quite relent, because naturally there are consequences to not completing a contract, and the entire book is about delving into the mystery of why this assassin recognized this person, and on top of that, why they're suffering the consequences of not fulfilling the contract. So it's very intense, it's very short, it's very fast paced. Every time things start to slow up a bit, something happens to just keep things going. It's not like to the level of like action thriller paced, but quite close. The few brief moments that we have where things are a little slow, they're mainly spent fleshing out the world, and that's one of the cool things about this world. So this is only my second book from P. Djèlí Clark, but what I've come to realize is that this guy is extremely creative. Like, he in the span of this short novella, he gives us a richly realized world, more so because he doesn't just present us with the face value of this world building. even within the context of the story, he finds ways to subvert it and to do creative things with it that show that even though like this is more than a surface layer world building. Then like we'll get a, for a comparison, it's like he'll introduce his world building as 4 plus 5 is equal to 9, and then a little later in the story he'll show us 3 plus 6 is also equal to 9. So just to give you an idea, I don't know if that's a good like analogy or comparison, but it's a very creative use of his world building, and it's all because it's so richly realized. Like he manages to pack a lot of stuff in here without a lot of telling. Quite a bit of it is showing, quite a bit is our characters display, like meeting these or interacting with these elements whilst on the run, or whilst on the move at least. And like I said, much like his Master of Jinn novel, the world building, the fantastical elements in here, they're quite evocative, they're creative, and they're richly realized. Like at this point, I've read this novella quite a bit ago. I like to leave a little bit of time between when I read something and when I sit down to talk about it, just from like my feelings and my thoughts to kind of coalesce. And it still amazes me like how much of this book like I just enjoyed reading about. And it just sticks with my mind. It sticks in my mind, and I still flash back on it at different points. But yeah, that's the world building. The characters, it's amazing how deftly he's able to kind of portray his characters within such a short space. Like we meet these people it's not a lot of space. Like, given this is a fantasy genre and we're accustomed to door stoppers, this novella is really not a lot of space, but these characters are all richly realized. There's no misplacing one of them with another. Like they're all unique personalities. They're all, if not necessarily unforgettable characters, they're certain. As soon as you pick up this book and you start reading, there's no mistaking these people. If that makes sense. And some of them are pretty incredible characters, pretty unforgettable. Like, just thinking back on this book, I'm thinking back on at least 5 or 6 different characters. Some of them who barely had any page screen time per se, but like they're just so creatively conceptualized and portrayed in this story, and just the little. They may not have a lot of screen time, but just their portrayal in the short time that they were there, it makes a big difference. Like, it was unforgettable. I have to say it was unforgettable. Yeah, so there's that. And definitely my favorite part of this book is the finale. Now, I wasn't quite sure how a story like this could end. He took it in a very creative, very interesting direction, and we meet a character at the end that I really wasn't expecting to meet. Not just a character, and then there's a very particular trait about this character, how this character speaks. And oh my god, this part, it just blew my mind. Now here's the thing. I'm from the Caribbean. So when this particular character started speaking, to say I had a blast was... It went without saying. I enjoyed this novel throughout, but at that point I was like, oh my god. I loved it. And it just comes back to how good a writer this guy is. Like, he just has this talent, this skill of creating just these rich, vibrant worlds, these rich, vibrant characters, and he's very creative in how he approaches everything. Like, when I picked up this book, like, I picked it up because like it was available for request. I had a blast with the Master Jin, and I did want to read something else from him because he does have a few other things out there that I've been considering buying, and I wasn't sure. And this seemed like a very different story from a Master Jin, so I wanted to see if a Master Jin was essentially a one-hit wonder, and that's definitely not the case. Like, I had such a blast with this novella from start to finish. It's just action-packed. The dialogue is just fun to read. Not just fun, like from the more serious moments to the more intriguing moments. Like, it's just really well written. Like, this is a guy who, after reading this novella, I now have to admit that he has a very deep well of talent to draw on, and I'm gonna have to read everything he's written now. No doubt about it, because he's clearly going to be a fantasy author that is going to be very successful if he continues to write stories of this caliber. And yeah, that's my thoughts on the Dead Cattail Assassins. Definitely worth picking up. Definitely worth the read, especially if you're a fan of this guy. If you're a fan of like assassin stories, and it's just a really fun adventure in a richly realized world. Shockingly richly realized. Like, I would love to see more of this. I would love to see a full length novella set in this world, and who knows, maybe something that may come down the line. But yeah, if you're thinking about picking up this novella, you definitely want to do so. And I think that's all I have to say. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.